Hey, be a squid and subscribe to my mediocrity. How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be doing another episode of Trash or Treasure featuring the Ammolite armor set as well as the Royal Khopesh. So we're going to be strictly focusing on the armor set and the weapon. There's nothing really crazy about the backpack. I don't really have anything else that I'm trying to look at in terms of the backpack at the moment, so we'll just worry about the basics. So starting off with the armor set, this is an early game armor set, so don't expect to be completely overwhelmed with amazingness, but I will say for an armor set that is fairly early in the game, you get quite a bit of protections as well as damage bonuses. So with the entire armor set, you're going to get plus 20 damage as well as a bunch of cold protection, and then you've also got decent protection. It's like one protection, so it's like kind of this light heavyweight armor set sort of deal. It's not uber heavy where it's going to weigh you down to the point to where you have no speed, no stamina. The only real negativities with this armor set is stamina cost as well as some mana cost on the helmet, but we've come to realize that is a custom with Outward for some weird reason. But given the fact that this is an early game armor set that is offering a damage bonus, I'm gonna just say it right out the gate. This armor is a treasure. If you can get this early on, this will carry you all the way to Levant in whatever quest that you choose. You get a decent amount of protections as well as 20 damage. I mean, that's a steal right there. And the fact that the negativities are so minimalistic, I don't really have any complaints whatsoever. I mean, obviously my plus 15% mana cost is pretty shitty, but you get decent cold weather defense, which, you know, if you're hanging out in Sierzo and it's snowing, this will offer you decent cold weather protection. Not to mention, it just has cold resistance in general, so if you're fighting something that is fucking you up cold wise, I mean, you've got some decent protection against that. There's not a lot of enemies that really fuck you over in terms of cold resistance. I mean, some bandit witches or whatever might fuck with you in that area, but regardless, it's just a nice little added protection to it. Now moving on to the Royal Great Khopesh. This weapon is, it's really hard to place it. I think it looks cool. I think because it's a sword, it has somewhat decent combo potential, but I think it's a bit slow. Even for one attack speed, I expected it to be a little bit faster. So we've got 42 damage, 43 impact, and 1 attack speed, and it inflicts pain. The fact that it at least inflicts something on the enemy is pretty good, considering that if you have an ability that capitalizes off of pain, I mean, that's pretty damn good. But that is kind of the highlight reel of this weapon, is the inflicts pain on enemies. If you take a look at some of the combos that you get with this, it's fairly slow. Like, look at this swing speed. It's not the slowest, I will say that, but considering that if you combine it with a more heavier armor set, I would say that it justifies the reasoning for it being slow. But if you're trying to mix it up as a light armor set like I'm doing right here just because it looks cool, I think you might want to adjust your expectations because you're going to take some unnecessary hits. I will say the combo where you do this move right here is pretty damaging, not to mention you can burn the people's stamina down pretty effectively, and then if you do a heavy hit, it does do a good bit of damage, but it's, like I said, somewhat slow. If you mix this weapon with some rags or varnishes, it becomes a way more powerful monster in itself, but without those outsources, it definitely is a bit underwhelming, but definitely still a treasure, just a low-level treasure in my personal opinion. So as far as the armor set and the weapon goes, I'm going to say they're all treasures, just the Royal Khopesh is a bit more underwhelming than I would like it to be, but nonetheless still a treasure. So in conclusion here, boys, we're going to go ahead and say that the whole thing is treasure. Both the Khopesh and the armor set are both treasures. I think the Ammolite is super great early on in the game, considering that you get that damage bonus as well as just a decent amount of protections, and it's fairly light, so the negativities are not so heavy. And the Royal Khopesh is pretty good in terms of damage and somewhat decent speed, but still a little slow for my taste, so it is what it is. But that's going to be it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.